Welcome to Date with Danu right here on Hi TV, your luxury channel. Today we are touching base on a subject that we have spoken about on Date with Danu, about the Indira Cancer Trust. We have spoken in depth, but this time around more projects have come about to support this cause. Let's speak more about it as we move on with the show.
Hi, I'm Dinara Punchihewa.
Hi, I'm Lanka Dissanayake.
And we're here to go on a date with Danu. I'm also here to talk about Asu, which is a film based on Indira Jayasuriya's life story, and looking forward to speaking more with Danu.
I am here on behalf of Indira Cancer Trust, speaking about the recently launched movie Asu and also the most recent initiative Unveil.
Welcome to the show. So we have one lady in pink, Dr. Lanka, who has always championed the cause. We have Wijesuriya, we have Dinara, and we also have Caroline. Now all these people come with one cause and one purpose, that is of course to create awareness about making either survivors or the ones who are living with cancer, it has to be a pleasant and a life that they will always enjoy, and that's the most important thing. Let's start off with Caroline. Caroline, you know, they say hair is the crown of the girl. For a woman, it's what sort of defines the face. But you have promoted and become the brand ambassador to something that is very different in terms of what we are used to. You have made covering your hair a beautiful thing. And this does not have a reason or a purpose of only being for cancer. It could be for anything. Tell me about the story behind this brand, Chata.
So Chata started over a cup of tea. So when I went to meet my team for a discussion, then one of my team members, he was wearing a scarf. Then I asked him, what is it? Then he told me, because he said he's supporting the breast cancer, especially cancer patients, because when they do chemotherapy, they will start losing their hair. So when you wear a headscarf, people look at them in a different way, right? So when more people wear a headscarf, it becomes as a fashion statement. So it becomes normal to wear a headscarf. So then and there I decided, why don't we do it then? So we said it's great because Chata is people's brand, and I'm the guardian of this brand. So when more people wear a headscarf as a fashion statement, people who are bravely fighting cancer, they will not be highlighted. And when they know there are people out there supporting them, that will give them more strength and courage to fight cancer.
That's amazing. Now, Jata has a purpose. When you do purchase any product, there's a part of its revenue that's shared with the cause.
Jata is not for profit brand, and it's the main purpose. Jata purpose is unbranding cancer.
Okay. Big words. All right. I'm going to now speak to Wijesuriya, because now when it comes to a bridal, everyone thinks of the hairdo. Hairdo is like a main thing they do they even go for a hair trial. Now, with Jata coming in, you sort of made it interesting on the reveal fashion show that we did about how you could actually dress up a bride even not touching the hair element to it. Tell me about how this project came your way and how did you all sort of join hands in this?
So I first thank Dr. Lanka for the platform she's given us to support a cause like this, because like as you said, hair is a vital part of a woman now, especially when it comes to bridal. But we've been successful in doing quite a few shows and things like that to show people that there's more to life than just your hair and what you're going through. And being terminally ill doesn't mean it's the end of the world for you. So trying to give them a different perspective of their journey, and we are here in our industry to make people beautiful. So here we begin by making them more beautiful from inner selves, because they're going through a lot. So I think doing such a thing and supporting people like that, so to try and create more awareness, and I think it's more the single speaking community we need to reach out to, because with the shows we had, it was more the English speaking community that came forward and financially I think they can spend on hair pieces and wigs and so many things, but it is the community that really needs some sort of assistance and the assurance that, you know, they can live, move on and still enjoy life, and this is not the end of the world for them.
Have you ever had to deal with a bride who was suffering with this kind of a situation in reality?
I have previously, but it has been where they've been going through, you know, certain situations, and it was most a parent who brought it to my notice, but it was not a degree that was causing very much. They had therapy and all that, and have gone ahead. That was a long time ago. So it's good to see that, you know, through the trust that we are able, even in our industry, to bring about a situation where we can support, even financially, you know, somebody who is terminally ill and who is suffering from breast cancer.
I really did like the concept of how you sort of made that evening so much more nicer in finding ways of, you know, featuring everything in it. Even certain religion doesn't allow you, or their belief is that not to show the hair, hair is such a personal element to that religion. But in terms of that, even they could use elements like jata and be inspired just the way women who have other complications would want to. So it's quite interesting with the fact that this avenue is not restricted to cancer. It's restricted to anyone who wants to be in that framework and still use it for a better thing. Now, this is one side to what Indira Cancer Trust is doing. There's another side, the element of this story of who Indira is and what sort of took off and how was the timeline of her life on earth and then she passing on. And that has been portrayed very beautifully in a film which was initially meant to be a short film, which got extended. We will speak more about it when we do come back after this. Welcome back to the show, and this is A Date with DANU. We are speaking about cancer, and for those who are currently facing this, what can I say, this challenging timeline in your life, remember, there's always an end that is going to be great, and you'll always come out of it with a smile, and that's all in your mind, and if you think of it that way. And I think Indira's story really does portray that positivity. I will start with you. How was it playing not a fictional role but a real role? You played Dr. Lanka.
Yes.
in the film, but you know, I think families who have had a person who has been diagnosed with cancer will understand. There's an eerie feeling. It's like your time on earth has been marked, but you're just there. And the fact that the others who are in that house feel the same thing, the only difference is they just don't have cancer, but they feel all that pain. How was it sort of working on a script that is not fiction, and it's not even something that has happened like 50, 60 years ago or 100 years ago? It has happened just a few years ago, and the people are still around. How was it?
So I think the film in itself is very sensitive. It's a very sensitive topic, and I mean, not that I copied Dr. Lanka's movements or tried to act like her, but we did. I mean, it's her story that I'm portraying. But I think the whole story is about also a mother's sacrifice and just how much the family went through. And I think it's good that films like this are being shown, because I think also in a sense it raises awareness. And it also shows people how much the family goes through, because that's something we
overlook.
We don't really look at. And I think for me personally, a very special film, because I mean, it's a true story, and I know you said it's not a story that happened 50, 60 years ago, but it's a story that's happening even now in most families, you know.
That is true.
So yeah, very, very special experience for sure.
Dr. Lanka, when you had to sort of bring this movie to life, to start with, why did you want to do this film?
It was actually the director heard about the story of Indira, because her story, actually she passed away 7 years ago. Her story was carried globally also from Daily Mail UK, where there were over 1 million views, where she was seen as a mother, a very loving mother. So her story was known. So the director approached my father, and he felt that this was a very passionate story, a story that could convey a strong message to society. And that was the entire reason why my father said, okay, please go ahead. I must say, we don't, we are not getting any funds from airing the movie. It is purely the agreement from the family was that it will give something back to society. And like as Dinara said, many families go through this. So highlighting the family's perspective, and also most importantly, a mother's love for her child, and the extent a mother would go to, to protect her child and to love her child. So that is a strong message that goes through, and that even, one of the things, every mother should watch this movie because it's a very powerful story. So that was the entire reason why my father and the entire family agreed for her story to be filmed as Asu.
I will also say every child should watch this movie too, because it shows what a mother will actually do for you, which is very powerful. Now, I know there is an element that you're creating awareness about it, and there is a framework that you're working with Indira Cancer Trust. For us, it's just a trust name, Indira Cancer Trust. But for you, it was a person who you shared memories with her, you shared birthday parties, you had fights with her, you literally grew up in the house with her. This person called Indira, how was it growing up with her? And to now remember her in every way that you do things.
So we are a family of 2 sisters. Unlike Asu, actually I am the older one. So it was my younger sister was Indira. In a household of 2 girls, she was always the mischievous one, the naughty one. She used to get into trouble quite a bit, but she had a beautiful heart, very kind, very loving, and exceptional human qualities were there. I mean, so many things that she used to do, even as she used to, all the stray animals she used to bring home. When she sees people on the road, she goes to the extent of trying to find them homes. So a lot of compassion and kindness was there, that we saw from a very early age. And she was also a very independent young lady. She lived in, both of us went to UK in '89 because of the problems here. My father had to send us there. So she stayed on there, and I came back to Sri Lanka after 10 years. But her character she was very strong. She was an investment banker. She was very independent. But for her, family always came first. I mean, seeing how she raised her 2 children really amazed me. I'm a mother of 2 children myself. But the extent, the sacrifices she went to as a mother, even with the illness diagnosed, was amazing. And one of the other things was, if you look at her life story, you will never see her. That is, the film is dramatized. So in real life, she always had a smile. She never cried out in pain. But those are dramatizations. But she always had a smile on her face. She was very positive, and also she was ready to say, she knew her life was limited, and she wanted to make sure that her children and her husband, and of course my parents as well, were looked after, and they were okay. She tried to kind of plan things for every one of us in our family. So that was a very exceptional thing as well. So when you watch the movie, there are certain discussions that go on, that those are real life situations which have been taken. For one, why take one scene where, she asks the husband to, you have to find someone and get married, someone to whom, the children should be well looked after. Those are things that actually really happened. And one of the most difficult scenes for us to watch also is the last scene. That is where my father was there. So that's a very painful thing, because it's very vivid for us. Although it's 7 years, it's very vivid. And also, especially my father, I think losing a child is extremely difficult for a parent. So it's very hard for him. But for me as a sister, I see the work we do at Indira Cancer Trust is actually very therapeutic, because that helps us to deal with loss, and we have seen her loss was not in vain. We see so many patients walking through, we see their smiles, so that gives us a huge amount of relief. So her life has meaning, still has meaning, even 7 years after she passed away. So she did something, you know, with her loss actually built something beautiful for others to benefit from. That is something that we kind of constantly remind ourselves, you know, so that, you know, it's easier to bear the loss with that thought in mind.
Painful. We have to get into a break. We'll come back and speak more about what you could do to keep the contributions going. Welcome back to the show. It's a date with the DANU. We are talking about creating awareness about cancer, and you know, awareness itself can save so many lives, and that's the most important thing. If you would have driven around Colombo or even taken a roundabout or two, you would have seen the touch, look, check. Boards put up as a reminder, so that you know it's not only for someone who is close to you, it's just a constant reminder that anyone at any age could be affected by this. So it doesn't sort of limit itself to breast cancer. A lot of people think that Indira Cancer Trust works specifically with that. They also work with a lot of women in terms of many different cancers as well. Let's speak about the wig promo that you all were doing, because for some ladies they love the fact that they could have hair until it grows back, and you were doing it in collaboration with Ramani Fernando Salons. How is that going?
It's going very well. Actually, we have enough hair at the moment, so we have stopped collecting hair, but we continue to make wigs. So every day.
And it's a long process to make it, right?
No, now we do a wig a day. I mean, we make 25 wigs every day. So we've got our fully fledged operations where it's at the Indira Cancer Trust. We are just next to the Apeksha Hospital. And we make at least maximum 25 wigs every single day.
That's amazing.
And then we also dispatch to the different hospitals in Sri Lanka. And I think just to mention what Caroline also said about the hair and the jata thing. So what we always say is, when we see a lady walk in without hair, hair is such a precious commodity. I think in Asian countries, it's even more than the Western countries. Yeah. And in Western countries, you do see a lot of people wearing jatas as a fashion statement. Yeah. I think that's the exact intention of Caroline also, to bring in the jata. Yeah. And I must say, people are now using it much more.
Yeah.
But for those, when you're in a village, still it has to, it's still, the hair is very important. You can't go to a temple, you can't go to your child's school. So, so we give out the wigs free of charge, and when patients come in, and also 10 hospitals throughout Sri Lanka. So that's a program where we may think, you know, when you talk of cancer, you talk of medicines. Of course, you need medicines, you need all that, but additionally, you also need to be mentally strong to face anyone. It's not everyone. Ideally, we would like people without hair to be able to go out in society without being looked at, without being frowned upon, without being, people feeling sorry, sense of sympathy. But unfortunately, we have not reached that stage yet. So if you go out without hair, you get asked so many questions.
By the time you answer that, you want to pull the hair that you have as well.
Yes, it's very,
it's always a problem.
It's very, and you feel the sense of sympathy.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want that. So
see Michael looking fabulous with no hair. Michael, you have done amazing work on many different lines. You have always given back to society in ways possible. When you see where we are today, do you think, have we gone back in time in our thinking? Do you think people were more embracing of issues back then than now?
Yeah, I'm sure it has been. that way because with culture and with the way we move forward, that's why even awareness programs like this are very important. And I think it should start from the grassroots level of education in schools, you know, younger children being educated about what can happen and there's more to life, and you know, kids could have maybe family members or brothers, sisters or who it is, you know, who are terminally ill, and so educating them at a very young age, even for young girls to know that, you know, out there's a support structure, there's help, everything that can be given to them. So for us, like in our industry, it's beautiful because we always make things beautiful and we want to see people happy on their big day, and to have this as part of our industry and to be able to support them, as I said, not only making them beautiful but making them feel good, feel special is also really important. So I think this day and age where people tend to forget, you know, what people go through and being insensitive about certain things, I think it's really good that this trust has really started, because we have had other associations and all that which have handled cancer, but this is that has something, it's based on this beautiful lady's life and what she went through and what she gave up, you know, and how she placed her kids above all. And so not being selfish, and that's what a mother generally does. But now in society sometimes you don't see that also, you know, where kids are not the exact thing of mothers sometimes, and you know, so I think the trust also takes over to say that it's not only cancer, like you said, it develops a sense of belonging to people, to love people, even
and also element of being human.
Yeah, for us being here together, the benefit we get is to be able to support somebody who's got a situation, even a family member, you know.
True. Karen, what's the process of making one of your jatas? There are different styles, I see. This one has pleats.
Yeah, this is the ready-made jata. So we used to first
for the lazy ones.
Yes, no, not for the lazy ones. We have the cloth. So now the cloth one you can design.
That was the initial launch, right?
Yes, you can design. You can do like 2 to 3 designs. You can do, but ready-made is only one design. But normally people prefer ready-made because even when you do chemotherapy, I think that Dr. Lanka knows way better than this. Even when it comes certain age, the 3rd stage, you can't even raise your hands or do anything. So having this is more easier. So
done for the purpose of this particular situation. And in terms of jata, if somebody wants to invest, maybe even in the project, how can they reach out? Like, do you all have like a factory?
No, we have. They can reach out in our Facebook and Instagram as well. So the number is mentioned.
So that's another way to contribute.
Yeah.
All right. Now I have to ask Dinara. Now, your life literally changed after your phenomenal film that came out, and I'm so proud to see it even showcased on an international airline. I watched it on the way back, just because it was there, just so I could re-watch it again. From that time to now, what keeps you going? Any projects?
You mean in terms of projects?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've done, 3 of my films have now screened in cinemas, and I think that's, for me, it feels like such a big achievement because, you know, ever since I was a child, that's all I wanted to do. So now, you know, finally,
it's happening.
It's happening. But I also filmed, I acted in another film. We finished shooting about 2 months ago. So, yeah, there have been projects, and very grateful for that.
In terms of doing stories that are Sri Lankan and not having the whole commercial element to some of our stories, what do you prefer?
You know, I kept saying I like more artsy films and all of that, but I'm ready to do a commercial film with a good script, you know. So
gotta see you dancing.
If you know someone, just let me know. DANU.
Just
you know, we
visual.
were supposed to do.
We were supposed to do a film. We were supposed to be shooting next month. Don't know what happened to it. We were talking about
just disappeared.
Didn't we supposed to do a film? I still have the script though.
Yeah,
we'll just sit on it and wait for a bit. Yeah, that didn't go down so well. Now we have to take a break. When we do come back, we'll speak more Do stick around. This date is done. Welcome back to the show. You know, cancer is not a personal thing. It's actually a very personal thing because I think everyone in our closest network of people, we would have had somebody going through this demon that we have to deal with. There's one guest who has been on this show who was surviving and thinking positive, but unfortunately she passed away. She was one of those people who we lost from as a guest who came on Date with DANU. Everyone has a story behind cancer and how they take cancer. Some people say, no, I don't want any treatment. I just want to live my life until I can and then go. Some people fight, and when they fight, there is not their lives that they are fighting for. They are fighting for the fact that they could be around for the ones who are dependent on them. There are so too many stories, and up to date, as however much the organizations like Indira Cancer Trust and so many come forward to do so many amazing projects, there's still so much of need. I'm going to start there as a doctor as well. Please tell me this need that the cancer hospital has, and that for me, that street down Maharagama, I find it so, like, I always look at the homes down that lane and wonder, how do you all live here? Because it's, at the end of that lane, there's so much of sadness. It's very rarely you have happiness coming out of that. Why is this need ever not being met?
I think the diagnosis in itself has a doom and gloom to it. I mean, the word cancer or pilikawa, that basically translates to death. And also there's a lot of, you talk of cancer, what do you imagine? You imagine someone without hair. So it's a lot of negativity surrounding that. It's a lot of stigma. Those are things that we must try and change. And I totally agree with you, Danu, when you go down the road of Maharagama, the hospital road, it is doom and gloom. But now, I must confess, you should come down there because we've opened Sri Lanka's first pediatric palliative care center. It's a place for healing. So it's a totally different place where we have a place to stay for 32 families, children with cancer, and it's a happy place. So we have converted cancer, and even anyone walking in there, we make sure that that doom, gloom, everything that is surrounding the cancer or diagnosis is no longer there. We have a lot of trees, we do a lot of positive activities. So I invite you, and also any of your viewers, please do come in to our center and see the place. There are a lot of ways where you can get involved. So in terms of needs of cancer patient, it's endless. Is endless, and also you must think beyond the medicines or the treatment that is required. I mean, one aspect which again I go back to unveil because it's very new, where we don't want a young person who's planned their wedding, don't let cancer stop that. The unveil package where many renowned people have come forward, make sure that it ensures that you end up with a beautiful wedding of your dreams, even though you may have a diagnosis of cancer. So I think from the trust perspective, we want to normalize and also make people understand, that cancer is just another diagnosis. You just get through it. It is a period where, and we are there to support you in any way possible. And you just get over it, and then we try and help them get back to a normal lifestyle.
And that's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing.
But I do agree because I have experienced that. What can I say? That doom, that like it's like time never moves from there. It's just like it's just stuck. A diagnosis of my mother came on the 17th of November at 11:45ish. In the night, that's when we knew for sure. I think that day, like that 17th becoming 18th and 18th morning, for the sun to shine, I felt like it took eternity. Like your mind works in all forms. The worst, and what can you do? How can you go back? Should we not do this test? It's just literally like you have no place to turn. And I think at that time, even the people around are equally in pain and suffering, just as the person is. So it's just that we need to use these kind of systems to hold on to, so it gives us some hope. Wanted to ask you, Caroline, you know, everyone who wins a title and all speaks about a purpose, a cause, and you won a title that portrays that, a purpose, a cause, and things like that. Do you feel like this has been the cause that you might have been waiting to champion?
Like I said, like DANU, I believe you get a title, but you need to give back to the society, right? This is one of this cause that I'm working on it, and there are many more that I'm planning in the future. So this is my duty. When I won and when I answer the Q&A, because they will ask a question, and in our top 3 they will ask a question like, why you want to be Mrs. World? And my answer for that was that I went through a rough situation in my life, and I want to be a voice, and I want to give back to the society. So this is one of the project that I'm working in, and in the future there will be many more as well.
That's amazing. Now, this unveil, you're not there to see it, right?
No.
Next time, put her as well. When you get caught in Dr. Lanka's trap, you can't get out of it. You're there for good. Say no. Yeah, she doesn't take no for an answer. She'll make it happen, but she'll say it in the most nicest way possible. And you know that she's not asking for herself, so you feel like doing it. So this unveil is a global phenomenon, and we're talking about this project being in the top 5.
Yeah, there's
Top 10.
top 5.
Top 5?
Top 5. They came in the top 5.
That is this idea.
This idea and the little commercial that they did
Right.
with regards to Unveil was submitted by the ad agency. There are 27,000 applicants, and we came in the top 5, and we were the only applicants from Sri Lanka.
Okay.
So that speaks volumes for.
That is true. And when you come into top 5, is there like a funding that could come from there, or is there a global information about it so that globally they will be able to support this so that it can go worldwide?
That would be, I think, the next step, but just give awareness that, in a country like in Sri Lanka, that we are able to, even through a small project like this being birthed, that it was taken out to the world, and people knew that there was so much more to it than just the few people who got together to do a show or anything. But
Yeah, there was a bigger purpose behind it.
there's a bigger purpose behind.
And I think just to add, we've got, since we started, we are actually looking for partners to support the cause, not funding, but technical expertise.
Right.
So we're very happy, that over 40 different, I mean, when you do a wedding, you need different things,
Yeah.
clothing, makeup, venues, photography. So different partners who provide this support have come forward. So it's an exchange where we pool all the resources together and support a couple, and we are in the process of doing that. This needs to be, the concept is that this needs to be, like Michael said, promoted at the ground level also, because there are many young couples who would benefit from this service.
And they put aside everything because they
Yes,
feel
they
like
do,
this
yes.
is it. Dinara, I have to ask you, did you get a chance to speak to Dr. Lanka personally, father, the mother, husband, children, about their experiences when you were taking up the
I
role?
mean, not everybody in the family. I mean, we spoke, but after the film, I did speak to the rest of the family, and it's always like she said before, the last scene, even some of the dialogues were real. So it's really hard, when you're acting this and you're just an actor acting this, but this family has gone through this, and this family has said these exact words. So I think it was very overwhelming to see their response, especially at the media screening that we did.
Did
which was
Indira's
before.
kids watch the film? No.
they find even my two children who were with my sister when we were all together. When we passed away, they did not, I mean, it's difficult for them. So they have only watched it once. I have seen it 5 times, but my father she's seen it 4 times. It's still painful. I don't think even my sister's children are ready to watch that yet. They are very young also. So.
And also to condition your mind to it.
Yeah, it's
But
difficult. Because we always, she was very positive
Yeah.
in everything. And one of the other things also, the deaths she had. We always, because we look at what you call palliative care and end of life care. Even it's a basic fundamental human right for a person to die in a dignified, pain-free manner.
Yeah.
So this is something that my sister didn't have any pain. She was very comfortable. We didn't do any unnecessary investigations on her. She was unconscious for 7 days, but she passed away peacefully. So that's also something that we are advocating for. And palliative care, it's a specialty that is coming up in
do you think
Sri
Sri Lanka will
Lanka.
ever adopt that?
Yes, we are.
We have one in Gaul, right?
Yes, we do, and even the children's hospice that we have, that's a palliative unit, and the ministry, health ministry, is very committed to improving, and I must congratulate, they are doing a lot of steps, pain-free death, all that they are looking at, different guidelines. So that is also something that as a country, I think we should move forward in.
That is true. We're getting into a break. We'll come back with our final segment. Welcome back to the show. If you do have time this season of giving that's upon us, I will say just take a walk down to even to the pediatric section of the cancer hospital, because there you meet such interesting characters, because they don't know what in the world happened to them, but they are still kids. They are jumping, running around, wanting to eat sweets. They don't know that they can't. They have lost their hair. They find it. They call each other Tatya, and they have somehow found ways of being so, what can I say, creative about their problems, because they don't know what a problem is. But then you have another sector of kids who don't want to go to school because they have been called names, so they feel so at home in that area. When you go there, you'll realize if we could start thinking about cancer the way they think of it, it's so beautiful, because they are so positive, because for them it's just like, okay, Sri Lanka ranna pakiwa. That's it. They don't care why they don't understand the gravity of it, and that makes it so much more beautiful. And I think you were telling me when you used to go to visit them.
Yeah, I used to do this birthday program with the Indira Cancer Trust.
And some people have actually fought with the security saying, we want to take cake, we want to take ice cream, and they're like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Then they don't understand.
Like fixed products that we gave
Yeah.
actually.
You can't take those because they are diabetic patients during the time of, yeah.
So it was very rewarding, you go on their birthday and give them this gift and a card, and I think there was a balloon, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay, that's
or
like a
soft
requirement
toy.
list. Okay.
Yeah, that was like a thing that you had to do. But also at the same time, sometimes you go and they're in the ICU, or they've passed away, or they've recovered and gone home. And what actually touched my heart was that sometimes, even though they recovered and went home, the parents would come the next day and get the gift as well, So it was a big deal, and it's
Yeah,
so
true.
nice that this cancer trust actually thinks of a birthday of a child, It's
In midst
very
of so
special.
much of chaos in there, because
Exactly.
because it's like 24/7 you're on call, because there's always something that somebody needs, and it's just so painful. Michael, if somebody would like to get involved and be a part of Unveil in the wedding industry, how can they get in touch, or are you going to be the face of it?
Well, we've been
He's the
together
best,
as
yeah.
a
You are the
team.
face of it.
And as I said, coming forward is my part. There's no financial obligation. So if I've said that if it's the bridal, we'll go
Aw.
to. And also, not only somebody who's terminally ill, I mean, it could be a parent, and then the daughter is getting married. So to some extent, due to the situation she's confronted with, that we can be of some support, even her,
Even it could be your graduation,
something like that.
like
just
a day
to,
of
yeah,
celebration.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anything like that, and we thought even like at a wedding, it could be a parent, an aunt, a relative who wants to attend the wedding, who is going through chemo and has this issue of not wanting to be there because of the most precious thing they have is their
Hair and
hair.
the skin
And
takes a toll on you.
just to make them
so
feel
much.
good and support them and show them that there's more to life than someday we all go, but it's a journey that we carry on, that we make the difference in the life of others also. So as I said again, thanks to Dr. Lanka for taking us on board and starting something like this, because our industry is also all about glam and all that, but to think of
That
things
side
that,
to it matters
that
a lot.
side, yeah.
I have to ask you, as an elder sister, as a family that went through a traumatic timeline and that it continues, how did you cope for the family to come together and normalize life, which is, like, I find it hard still. It's been 13 years for me and still it's not the same. But how did you do it, or how are you doing it?
I think the work we do at Indira Cancer Trust is the healing factor, because even for my father, my mother is not too well, but for my father and even the whole family, my husband, children, everyone supports this work. And we, for me, I mean, I go there at least minimum once a week, but at least 2 to 3 times a week, or sometimes even daily. When you step in to the trust, it's just a different world. So that is healing for us. And when we see patients walking out of there, the services we are able to give, so her loss has then got meaning. And also there are certain things, we talk of destiny, we talk of karma, we are Buddhists. So, with all that, you have to accept certain things in life. So we have accepted it with difficulty. But the work we do at Indira Cancer Trust is healing, and it helps us. Now, even my father, with all his work, he comes at least once a month. He speaks to, we have children who are there, families who are there, he speaks to all of them. He spends about half a day there speaking to the staff and just, just looking at what is being done. So
I think that's another way for him to live in the presence of Indira.
Yes, and also we have a lot of the volunteers. We are a volunteer-run organization. Many of the volunteers, they've had an experience with cancer. So they've had a family member who was ill or who had passed away, and each of them feel the same thing as we do. They come there, they do something, and volunteering is selfless. I mean, you gain a lot of mental satisfaction by just giving your time. So
it's amazing. Caroline, I think you are one of those people hard to break. I think you have proved it over and over again, and it's remarkable. I'm so happy that you still stand tall, you still hold everything with a lot of pride, and champion what you are here to do. I know it's been some good years and bad years, but all these would have taught you so much in life. What would you say has been the biggest lesson? From the last time I had you on this show to today, lots of things have changed.
Truth will always win, and always be yourself. Fame is one thing, and we should never change ourselves. So, and the moment you be your own self, you can be the greater version. So that's the thing I learned. And every day is a learning for me, and being honest to my own self and standing for what is right is more important.
I must say, the world didn't see it fast enough, but they saw it. That's the most important thing. Thank you so very much for being here. I think we are done with the show. Yes, I'm getting a whole break sign there. Thanks, Dinara. It's different to what we'll normally do, our scandalous shows. I feel scared to do it in front of Dr. Lanka. She has that strict element. You might actually consider teaching.
you think so?
Yeah, you have the look and you have that whole look for it. The rest might just come naturally. Thank you so very much, Michael, for always being supportive. Always with Michael, you can just go tell him, I need an outfit, I think the last thing he tells you is the price. That's the problem, but he's always there for a good cause, so thank you so very much. Caroline, you know I'm always rooting for you from my little corner. Okay, I take a big amount of space, but it's still a little corner. Thank you, ladies and gent, for being here. And if you want to contribute, support in any way you want to, please do reach out to Indira Cancer Trust. There are so many avenues. It's not always about the financial support. It could be time, talent, service, your willingness to spend time. All of these are appreciated. Do what you can. On that note, we need to wrap things up. Have yourself a great day.